When Linda disappears into the depths of a haunted forest with her violent ex-husband, Quang has only one desperate hope. Huong, the woman who knows every shadow, every path, every secret of the wilderness. As they race through the night, following broken tracks and fading traces, the truth becomes terrifyingly clear. Linda is alive, but running out of time. Footprints, distant cries, and an abandoned shelter lead them to the brink of danger. If you love gripping rescue stories, subscribe to the channel and follow the suspense. Quang burst through the wooden gate of Huong's small house at the edge of the village, the night air still clinging to him like a wet shroud. His clothes were stained with mud, torn by branches, and his breath came in ragged, uneven gasps, as if he had been running for hours without stopping. The dim lantern hanging by the doorway flickered when he pushed it open, casting trembling shadows across the room. Huong, who had been sorting herbs by the table, looked up sharply. She had seen many expressions in her life: fear, worry, anger, but nothing prepared her for the raw desperation etched on Quang's face. "Please, I need your help," he managed, his voice hoarse and shaking. "It's Linda." He took her into the forest. For a moment, Huong froze, the name echoing in her mind. Linda, the quiet woman with the haunted eyes, the one who had been trying to rebuild her life after escaping her violent husband. Huong felt her stomach tighten. She knew what Linda had suffered. She also knew what kind of man her ex-husband was: possessive, unpredictable, and capable of anything when blinded by obsession. Quang stepped closer, gripping the edge of the table as though afraid his legs would give out. He said, "I followed them as far as I could," staring straight into Huong's eyes. "But once the path split, I lost the trail. He dragged her somewhere deeper, somewhere I've never been. I can't find her alone. She might not survive until morning." Huong's heartbeat thudded in her ears. She had lived beside the forest all her life. She knew every bend of the creek, every cluster of bamboo, every abandoned trapping ground that hunters used decades ago. To most people, the forest at night was a maze of darkness and danger. But to her, it was almost like a map drawn into her bones. "Quang," she said softly, "are you certain he's taken her into the deep forest, not just the outer trails?" Quang shook his head, too quickly, too desperately. "No, he went far in. I saw the marks on the ground, the same way he used to pull her when he was angry." His voice cracked. She was terrified, Huong. I could feel it even from afar. Something inside Huong shifted. She put down the herbs and walked closer, studying his trembling hands, the dirt on his sleeves, and the panic living behind his eyes. This wasn't just a search. It was a race against a man capable of cruelty and a forest known to swallow people whole. "You came to me because you think I can find them," she said. "I came to you, Quang, because you're the only one who can. You know the forest better than anyone. And Linda, she's running out of time." The lantern flame flickered again, as though reacting to the weight of his words. Outside, the wind moved through the trees like a warning whisper. Huong took a slow breath. She felt fear, but also a fierce resolve rising inside her. "Get your strength back," she said quietly. "We leave now." And just like that, the night transformed. No longer calm or silent, but charged with urgency, danger, and the fragile hope that Linda might still be saved. Huong moved with swift, decisive motions, as though her body had already accepted the mission before her mind fully did. She grabbed the worn canvas backpack hanging by the doorway and began packing what she needed: her handcrafted map, spare batteries, a coil of rope, a small first aid pouch, and the long, narrow flashlight she trusted more than any modern gadget. Quang watched her with restless urgency, shifting his weight from one foot to the other. The moment she slipped on her forest jacket, a heavy olive green coat stained from years of trekking, she seemed to transform. No longer the quiet healer of herbs and wild remedies, but the guide people turned to when the forest stopped being just trees and became danger. "We have to think carefully," she said, fastening the straps across her chest. If he dragged Linda deep inside, he wouldn't choose random terrain. He'd go somewhere hidden, somewhere he knows no one will find them. Quang swallowed hard. The memory of following the tracks, the dragged footprints, the snapped branches flickered through his mind like a nightmare refusing to fade. "Do you think he planned this?" Huong nodded grimly. Men like him don't act out of impulse. They act out of control. If he wanted to hide her, the most likely place is the old shelter near Blackstone Slope. Quang stiffened. Even he had heard the stories about hunters who vanished, about travelers who wandered too close and never returned. A place shrouded by cliffs and thick undergrowth, untouched by sunlight even at noon. "Why there?" he asked, though his fear in his voice made clear he already sensed the answer. "It's abandoned," Huong explained, slipping her map into the side pocket, "and isolated. No cell signal, no paths, not even animals like to linger there. It's the perfect place for someone who doesn't want to be found." The words chilled Quang to the bone. The image of Linda, her frightened eyes, her bruised arms, her silent endurance burned through him. He clenched his fist. "Then that's where we go." They stepped into the night, leaving behind the faint safety of Huong's small home. The forest welcomed them with its usual chorus, wind rustling through treetops, insects chirping unseen, distant owls calling from somewhere above. But tonight, the sounds felt sharper, more sinister. Every noise reminded them of the ticking clock, of Linda waiting, alone, terrified, trapped with a man capable of anything. Huong led the way with careful but determined steps. Her flashlight sliced through the dense darkness, illuminating roots that twisted like serpents across the trail. Quang followed close behind, his heartbeat loud in his ears, matching the rhythm of their hurried steps. As they moved deeper, the forest grew thicker. Branches reached out like skeletal fingers. The air turned colder, heavier, as though the trees themselves knew what they sought and were holding their breath. Suddenly, Huong kneeled, raising a hand for Quang to stop. "Footprints," she whispered. The deeper they went, the more the forest seemed to close in around them, swallowing the faint moonlight overhead. Hours passed in tense silence, broken only by the crunch of brittle leaves beneath their boots and the distant, almost mournful hoot of an owl. Quang felt sweat sliding down his spine, despite the cold air. Fear had a strange way of heating the body, even when the night froze the breath on his lips. Huong remained several steps ahead, her movements steady, her gaze sharp. Every snap of a twig, every shift of wind, every broken branch drew her focus like signals only she could interpret. Suddenly, she halted. Quang nearly collided with her. "What is it?" he whispered in a voice that trembled with equal parts hope and dread. Huong knelt again, sweeping her flashlight low across the forest floor. There, barely visible but unmistakable, were impressions in the soil. Shallow, uneven, hurried. She reached out, her fingertips brushing the disturbed earth. "These prints," she murmured, "they were made just hours ago." Her voice carried something new, certainty. Quang felt his breath catch. Linda? She's still moving? Huong nodded. She's alive, and she's fighting. These aren't the marks of someone being dragged anymore. She walked, or tried to run. Huong stood, lifting her light to illuminate a broken branch overhead. She resisted him here. That means she hasn't given up. And if she hasn't, we can't either. Those words ignited a fire inside Quang's chest, burning through the fear, the exhaustion, the frustration. He straightened, jaw tightening with renewed resolve. Then we keep going, whatever it takes, whatever's waiting ahead. Huong gave a single, firm nod. But we need to move faster. If he realizes someone's tracking them, he might... She didn't finish the sentence. She didn't need to. Quang felt the unspoken threat like a blade pressed against his throat. They pushed forward, almost breaking into a run. The darkness grew denser, the air thick with damp earth and moss. The forest, once merely intimidating, now felt alive, breathing, watching, judging. Every rustle made Quang's muscles tense. Every shadow seemed to shift at the corner of his eye. Minutes blurred into miles. Then a faint sound drifted through the trees. Quang froze mid-step. Did you hear that? Huong lifted a hand, signaling silence. They listened, strained to catch the fragile whisper of it. A soft, muffled cry carried by the wind. Faint, but unmistakably human. Linda, Quang breathed. Huong's pulse quickened. She's close, close enough that he might hear her too. We have to move quietly now. No mistakes. Every step became deliberate, silent, and cautious. The forest seemed to sense their urgency, the wind easing, the insects quieting, as if the world itself were leaning in to watch this fragile race against fate. When they finally reached the crest of a small ridge, Huong pointed through the trees. Below, half hidden by vines and shadows.
Hello, xin chào tất cả các khán giả của kênh Lý Tử Nina Review. Vậy là trong câu chuyện của chúng ta ngày hôm nay thì Quang đã đi tìm đến Hương, ân nhân cũ của anh, để nhờ Hương giúp anh đi vào trong rừng tìm Linda, nơi mà chồng cũ của cô đang trói cô và nhốt cô ở trong rừng. Mọi tình tiết hấp dẫn sẽ còn được kể các video tiếp theo. Các bạn hãy ấn vào nút subscribe để đăng ký kênh, sẽ nhận được thông báo mới nhất về các tập phim sẽ được phát sóng hàng ngày trên kênh nhé. Cảm ơn các bạn rất nhiều. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.